What is up, everybody? This is your host Superstar, and welcome back to another video of Battlelands. And in this one, I'm going to be doing a comprehensive comparison of all the guns currently in Battlelands. So what I've done, because recently they added this really cool thing, so if you go to this, and then if you tap on them, it shows you all their stats. So I'm going to be answering, well, which one does the most damage per second, the most range. I've created graphs of all of them. I absolutely love this feature that they've implemented, because you can check out all the different guns. So I've got the graphs, and I've got an in-depth comparison of certain guns, like, for example, the AR versus the Scar and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoy the video, and let's get right into it. So the first thing I have ranked them by is by DPS. So I rank them by everything. There's a graph for every one of them, for example, like so. But I'll start with DPS. Now, also, one thing to note is that this does not account and include legendary weapons. It doesn't account for the criticals you get, and nor is it including accuracy. Hence, of course, you know, the miniguns right at the top. And so it also doesn't take into their purpose. So this here is the DPS. As you can see, minigun comes out on top with 37.5. I was actually very surprised to find how incredible it is for DPS. The thing is, though, that inaccuracy of it then makes it not so great. So that's, I've done the ones that are first in gold, and then ones that are second in silver, and ones that are like third or third equal in bronze. And so as you can see, Bazooka comes in second with a huge damage per second, which is pretty amazing, because it is like a massive one-hit, one-shot thing, like, or two shots really if they got full health. And then of course the Scar and AR right there, very similar. Now actually this list is actually fairly, I think, accurate reflection of how approximately good the guns are, except for the fact that it definitely doesn't take into account the usage of the sniper and Kar 99, because for example you don't just go at each other, you dodge, you retreat, then you fire, you retreat, then you fire. Hence, although the damage per second isn't great, you don't measure those kind of weapons by damage per second. It's like, that's not how you use them, and that's why they're really low down the list. So I think if you, for example, bumped up the sniper in the Kar 99, and for example you moved the minigun down a little bit due to inaccuracy, you'd actually have a fairly reasonable list on the best to worst weapons, I would say. So there's DPS for you. Now also, sorry the images aren't particularly clear, but that's just how it is. Okay, moving on to the next one, which is range. So range is an interesting one, because I was actually surprised how close all the weapons are. Because for example, like there's 15, 16, and 17s, that's like half the weapons is just within two little ranges of each other. You know, it's very, very close. But as you can see, Bazooka and Kar 99 as the number, you know, the first equal right there, and Sniper coming in next. But they are all pretty reasonable. I remember people used to always say they need to nerf the shotgun range. Now I'm not sure if they did nerf it or not. I don't even know. Anyway, that's definitely the lowest at a mere 9.5, which is like, yeah, that's really, really not that great. But yeah, that's the different weapons right there. Okay, so the next one that is ranked by is bullets per minute. So the bullets per minute is, I was very surprised to find that the SMG and the AR actually equal. I thought that the SMG was way faster, because it was like, and I just thought that it was a much cooler weapon. It's actually equal on 300 bullets per minute, and that's actually way faster than I realized they were shooting. Like, I knew they shot fast, but that's very, very fast. So there's 300 bullets per minute, and then as you can see, minigun comes in at, you know, third, and because the other two are first equal, and then at the bottom it's got the Kar 99, which is even slower than Bazooka, which is interesting. That's partly why I don't like it. It's just, I feel like it's so slow. Like, in this case, you can clearly see that the Bazooka would be better than the Kar, because, for example, it does, you know, the Bazooka does, well, range, and that range is equal, but, for example, with DPS, it does way more DPS, plus, it even has more bullets per minute, which, yeah. So that's the bullets per minute. There's a huge variation in bullets per minute. That's one thing that's very, very... Okay, moving on to the next one, which is initial ammo, and I will say that so, yeah, the minigun comes out on top with 80, and the SMG close behind with 75, AR 55, Scar 50, all the way down to the Bazooka only has 4. So definitely a variation with that as well. Now, yeah, I thought I would say that I reckon it's not about the amount of shots you have, but rather about how well you use those shots and how much damage each of those shots contain. So, for example, if you have a ton of shots, if they're not very good shots, or if they're shots that are normally inaccurate, or you're not very good at aiming them, because, yeah, yeah, and so then they're inaccurate. Then it doesn't matter even if you have lots of shots. It's better to have a few. Hence, as you can see, the weapons, which are down, the lower end, actually the ones which are generally favorable, when going into an end match, because it's those final shots that really do it, rather than, for example, the SMG. So yeah, that's initial ammo thing. Okay, moving on to the final category, and then I'm going to do some comparisons between the main guns. So also, this video took me ages to make, and I feel like I'm not doing a great job of it because I'm just commentating over the different graphs, but I did try really hard to make this video. So with this one here, as you can see with the categories, rather than doing the first for gold and then all the other ones, just below, I thought, well, I'll just do sort of category because it's pretty similar. Interesting though, the double barrel gun has 2.5 damage, which is more than the other ones. And again, you can only take all these figures with a grain of salt. Like, they're accurate, but again, with the criticals, it's very hard to calculate. Like with the shotgun and the double barrel shotgun, you can always get criticals basically. But with guns like the sniper and that, it's well, the AR, it's like, how do you get a critical, like a headshot? It's like you can't really aim and then, oh yay, we're getting more criticals now. Hence, it's almost like just a percentage chance as to how many criticals you get from ARs, which do affect the figures and do affect the damage per second. If, for example, one has like two or three times more chance of getting criticals versus another one, so that does affect all these figures. But this is just the base figures, not including legendary. And yeah, anyway, headshot damage. Okay, so double barrel, as you can see, 2.5, so way out there. And then the Peacemaker, shotgun, sniper, and car all with 2 times. Then the minigun, and hence, like, for example, the sniper sometimes does 15 damage, sometimes does 30. The car sometimes does 25, sometimes does 50. So that's one of the categories that, that it does. And then you've got the quadzooka and bazooka, which don't actually have any effect in terms of headshot damage. Okay, and also one other thing, the initial ammo, yeah, I did that one. Okay, and so moving on to that's just an image of the different categories right there. Well, the guns, and then if you tap on them, then it shows you the figures. So I like that image, it's very cool. And see the 3 ladder guns, the minigun, the bazooka, and quadzooka, they can only be obtained in the supply drop. Okay, moving on to a comparison one. So the Kar 99 versus the sniper. Now I love there's a healthy debate about which one's better. Now I'm actually on team sniper. I prefer the sniper over the car, but let's look at the figures and see what they show. So in terms of damage per second, the sniper does indeed have an edge over the Kar 99. So the Kar 99 only does 11.9 versus the sniper, which is 13.6. Range, the car does outrange the sniper slightly, but I think that is such a minute difference in range that it would be easy for the person using the sniper to get into the range of the Kar 99. Bullets per minute, sniper's almost shooting twice as much. So yeah, that is a key difference. It's not quite twice as much, but for example, that means if the car misses a shot, it's very, very deadly, because if they miss one, it's like, oh dear, they've just missed out on 25 or 50 damage versus the sniper would only miss like 15 or 30 damage. And then initial ammo, they're the same, the headshot damage is the same, so it's actually very similar. The range is basically the same, so just a slight variation on the DPS and the bullets per minute. So the sniper fires about twice as much, but it does, I think, because of that damage per second is slightly higher. And it's not crucial even if you accidentally miss a shot. That's why I favor the sniper. But there you go. That is the 2 different figures as to the sniper versus the car. Okay, moving on to the SCAR versus the assault rifle. Now, this was one of the most interesting things I did when doing this research. Finding that the damage per second for the SCAR and assault rifle were actually the same now. Like, it used to be high for the SCAR. I couldn't believe it. So, I've actually... yeah, it's amazing, but it's psychological that I'm like, oh, the SCAR's so much better than the assault rifle, except for the fact that the range is a tad different. They're doing the same amount of damage. I couldn't believe that was the case, that, the only difference is that the AR is, shooting more, 50% more shots, like bullets per minute is why. But actually, they're actually the same for DPS. For the range, the SCAR does have a tiny bit of, a tiny wee edge, bullets per minute. The AR definitely has more, and then initial ammo, the AR has slightly more, headshot damage is the same. So since the DPS is the same, the headshot damage is the same, the only difference really, because bullets per minute doesn't really affect it, except for the interval in which they hit is helpful, but the only difference is the initial ammo really, which is 55 for the AR versus 50 for the SCAR, and the SCAR has the range of 14 versus 13. Now, personally, I think that the SCAR in this case is better, because that one extra range often is the difference between it, getting that first shot in, which does do it. Because, and you could say the same for, oops, not that way. And the same potentially could be said for the car and the sniper as well. But definitely this one, because they're very confrontational weapons. And so therefore I do believe that the Scar, because of that, it's, you know, 5 extra ammo. It's not normally a situation where you both run out of ammo at the same time. So therefore, if the Scar has that slightly bigger range, since it's a smaller range, I think that is slightly more helpful. But again, I was very surprised. I'm actually much more favorable to the AR after looking at this, realizing that actually it's really basically the same as the Scar. There's very little difference. Okay, moving on to the next comparison, and that's the assault rifle versus the SMG. Now, most of you already have made up your mind on this, and the statistics prove why this is the case. So the damage per second is 30 for the AR versus 25 for the SMG, and that's basically the key figure. That's basically what shuts down the SMG. The SMG is not a long-range weapon. It's meant to be used in confrontation. It's meant to be used as a non-stop, like da-da-da-da, or the strafe or whatnot, but it's meant to be firing, like, in a very close proximity. And as is the AR. But when you have an AR versus the SMG, and the AR does 5 more DPS per, you know, damage per second, that, of course, the AR is going to win those fights. And so from that, I would say, that is why that figure alone shuts down the SMG as to why it's not used. Because in those confrontations, AR versus SMG, the AR is going to win. That's the reality. That's why. And not only that, but the AR has a bit of range as well. So it's got a better range, and it's got a better DPS, and so it's like, oh man, that's, yeah, but interesting though, the bullets per minute is the same. I always thought the SMG was faster, but that's the same. The headshot damage is the same. Initial ammo, the only thing that's, you know, that it's better in is the SMG. So the SMG is better at initial ammo, but ultimately SMG doesn't matter, because the thing is that you're cycling it, you know, the extra ammo means nothing in fights. The ammo isn't very important. As you cycle through guns so quickly, it's the momentary fight that matters when you're fighting, and you're not going to run out of ammo with 55 from an AR, so it's not going to make any difference. It's just going to be who wins that specific fight. That's going to be the key. The SMG. That's why, and so because of that, that's why I would say the SMG is not particularly great. Okay, and so yeah, that's why it's never been good. The SMG's never been good because the DPS is just too low, and that explains why people don't like it, because it's not comparable in other fights. Okay, moving on to some other statistics which I have created. Okay, so after seeing that my video on the analysis actually took about 20 minutes, I thought I'd split the video into 2. So I'll do a part 2 of this, in which I do a really super in-depth dive into all the data and some other cool stuff. But for this one here, I thought these here are just some graphs as to show you, you know, the different ranks and different guns by category, as well as 3 of the main, you know, comparison of guns compared. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a like if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel if you're new. Thank you so much for watching. This is your host, Superside, and I'll see you all next time.